because I don't believe Kevin Durant and Zion Williamson make them a championship contending team. And I believe a large part of this is that teams don't trust Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant had a great situation in Golden State. He didn't want to be there. He wanted to go build his team. He had a situation that he helped build and create and foster. I was reading reports, and Skip, I don't know if this is true, that one of the reasons that they wanted to go to Brooklyn is that they felt they can get more control than they would at Knicks with Dolan. So they went to Brooklyn, and they had their way, had access beyond access. Family members, friends, whatever, had the access. Kevin Durant gave him whatever he wanted. Man, it's hard to repair trust once it's broken. And the teams are saying, okay, we give up a young Brandon Ingram can't be no more than 25 if he's that. I'm saying he's 25. If I give up B.I., 25-year-old, got him under contract for another year or two, I'm sure he's in line to get a max contract, and he should get that. Some of these young assets, they do, Skip, that they got the draft capital as far as draft picks, because they still got the picks from the Lakers with Anthony Davis, and they get the picks from the Bucks with Holiday. So they got the young draft capital if they wanted to do this deal. But I can't trust Kevin Durant, because I give up B.I. and I give up a lot of my draft capital, and in 2 years, with 2 years left on the deal, he says, you know what, I ain't happy. Y'all need to move me. I would be leery also. You know why, Skip? He didn't put them on the list at first. Who did he put on the list first, Skip? He put Phoenix, he put Miami. Now, all of a sudden, he might be interested in going to Philly. He might be interested in going to Boston. And here come New Orleans traveling, and they got in a little late. I'm sure a lot of teams were eyeing this, but looking at their roster, looking at their draft picks, like, we just ain't got the arsenal to go get him. So I think that has a lot to do with it, Skip. And if you give up a lot of your core in order to get Kevin Durant, kind of like what the Knicks did to get Carmelo. Well, Carmelo wanted to come play, and he wanted to play with all these guys, but you had to give up all these guys to get him. Well, if I got to give up everything to get Kevin Durant, what good is Kevin Durant to me? Kevin Durant and Zion Williamson is not a champion. They're not coming out of the West. They're not a championship team. I don't care what anybody tells you. Y'all, I don't care how great Kevin Durant is. He and Zion are not championship. So I'm going to do everything I possibly can, if I could, to keep Zion, keep Ingram, and still try to get Kevin Durant. But I don't think the Nets are going for that. But no, Skip, no. Brandon Ingram turns 25 in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. I can't do this deal, Skip. Now, I might be willing to give you CJ. Oh, I forgot CJ McCollum there. I give you CJ, a couple of draft picks. You want some Herb Jones. You want Alvarado. You want Devontae Graham. I give you some of that. But nah. Ooh, can you imagine KD, B.I., Zion? Now you might be on to something. You might be on to something, Skip. Might be on a little something.
I think you're on a little something. So I'm going to quote the great Shannon Sharpe, as he often says across the table to me. Let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly. You're saying if this pie in the sky deal actually were on the table, which I believe it is not, but let's just say hypothetically that Brandon Ingram was available to the Nets for Kevin Durant, where the Nets would actually take Brandon Ingram, which they would not. But let's just say that they would take Brandon Ingram and draft picks for Kevin Durant. If you're New Orleans, you should get down on your knees and crawl all the way to Brooklyn, crawl across the Brooklyn Bridge and say, thank you, God, we do it. Yeah. Please, Kevin, get on our backs, and we'll crawl all the way back to New Orleans, because Kevin Durant with Zion would give you a chance to win the championship.
Well, for CJ, you got even better.
Okay, but CJ would still be there. Yeah, I'm just saying, if it's only Brandon Ingram and draft picks straight up for Kevin Durant, and there's a bunch of draft picks, but that's all future. Okay. Right. I'm just talking about right here, right now, with that young, potentially great head coach that they have in New Orleans. You got firepower. And the problem that I believe you are suffering right now is you are picking this thing to pieces, because in the end, you're a LeBron guy, I'm a KD guy. In the end, Kevin Durant is still the best player on the planet. And in the end, you are relishing. You are exuberant about the potential to blast and shame Kevin Durant.
I'm not shaming him, Skip. I mean, he put himself in this position, and it looks like the teams are unwilling because they don't trust Kevin Durant is going to honor. If you want out of a 4-year deal, what's to say that after 2 years, after I've given up this compensation? But I tell you what we do know, let that have to be a year 15 or year 16 LeBron James. You think they trade B.I. for him?
Thank you. That's you're making my point. You immediately switched the conversation to defending LeBron at the expense of Kevin Durant. That's what's happening.
I'm just telling you what would have happened.
Your problem is you can no longer see the forest for the 7-foot tree that is Kevin Durant. You are losing sight. You are devaluing just how overpowering he can be.
Yes.
When his head is right, when he's in it. He played half-hearted basketball against Boston because he believed that Kyrie had betrayed him and sold him out, wouldn't get vaccinated, wasn't there for him. After he committed to Kyrie to go to Brooklyn, then Kyrie was no longer there. And I think he wasn't real happy with James forcing his way out of that situation.
I couldn't tell the way they was all at Travis Scott concerts.
That could also happen with Kyrie in the next few weeks before the season starts, because I believe Kevin is going to be a Brooklyn Net with Kyrie and with Ben Simmons and with all the pieces they acquired in the offseason. And I believe they should be a preseason favorite to win it all in Brooklyn. But if you're telling me right now that somebody in New Orleans, starting with David Griffin, would say no to a straight-up trade of a bunch of draft picks and BI for KD, that is insane. That is asinine, ASA 10, ASA 11, ASA 100. Because it's Kevin bleeping Durant you're talking about.
Yeah, but you told me that he was just going through the motion. He was half-assing it. If you do it once, you'll do it again. But let me ask you a question. When you bring on one of these guys, how much? Because right now, it's not like David Griffin has given up complete control of his team to any player. Nobody is a superstar of that status and wants that kind of love, that kind of adoration.
Okay.
When Kevin Durant comes on, you got to turn over stuff to him.
Okay, I got it. But if you continue to build the way you're building, and I'm a much bigger Zion fan than you are.
Yeah.
If you stay as is with that potential superstar head coach, the best you'll ever do with that group to me is conference finals. That's the best you'll.
Right.
I don't believe that group can win a championship.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what makes you so sure Kevin Durant can get you to it. Because I haven't seen him do that in a very long time outside of Golden State. When the last time you seen him get to the finals? Outside of Golden State. I'm taking Golden State. I'm taking those 3 years of Golden State. I'm not doing. They didn't exist. Now tell me what you got.
How many years ago was 2018?
Man, that a long time ago, man.
It was prehistoric, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was still in my 40s.
That's all of 4 years ago.
I was in my 40s.
Kevin Durant took over the NBA Finals and was a back-to-back MVP by taking over a Game 3 back-to-back years in LeBron's castle.
You see? I thought we wouldn't revisit the past, but since you took it there, I'm just going to go back to last year. I'm not going to go to 2018. Let's talk about 2022. What did you see from the guy that took over? Why couldn't he take over Game 3?
I didn't see Kyrie. I couldn't see Kyrie.
Whoa, no. We're not talking about Kyrie. What you do is that anytime I ask you and I hold Kevin Durant size 27 feet to the fire, you make it about Kyrie. You make it about James Harden. You talk about itty-bitty Steph Curry, and he came up smaller than his actual size. I'm talking about Kevin Durant in his 3 years in Brooklyn winning one playoff series. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about if Kevin wore a size 26.5 sneaker, maybe his toenail wouldn't have been on the line in Game 7 at the end of regulation against the soon-to-be champion Milwaukee Bucks, because that was very, very close to being a 3 that would have gone down as one of the greatest clutch shots in NBA playoff history. That was only 2 years ago.
Can I ask you a question?
Wow.
But what are we doing here, Skip? I'm trying to figure out why were you even in that situation if Kevin Durant is the best player on the planet. He's up 2 games to love. He's up 2 love, and then he got a Game 7 in his house.
And to quote the great Shannon Sharpe across from me, it's 1-on-5. It's KD or bust.
We've seen Michael Jordan win series 1-on-5. We've seen LeBron James win series 1-on-5. That's your guy. You tell me he's the guy. Now I need him to deliver me the goods. Now I paid him for a service. Deliver me the goods.
He delivered masterpieces against Milwaukee just 2 years ago.
Skip.
Last year was chaos in Brooklyn thanks to Kyrie Irving.
Skip,
Even you said they're sick and tired of his bull jive.
Man, he put eyelashes on the Mona Lisa. He messed that masterpiece up by what he didn't do in overtime. Now, let's talk about the overtime. How did he do in overtime?
He was 1-on-5 and he hit the wall. Just the way LeBron hit the wall in Game 4 of 2016 in his house against Iguodala.
You told me that's no excuse. When I said LeBron hit the wall in Game 1 of 2018, you said that's not good enough. He's got to deliver that.
Game 1 of 2018.
Skip, when they went to overtime with Jeff.
I know exactly what it was. He was pouting. Sat apart from his team, quit on him in the first 2.5 minutes of overtime, wouldn't take a shot. So
Congratulations. So Kevin Durant, so LeBron James quit in overtime. Your guy quit in 4 games. Got swept this year. So what happened?
I just told you what happened. Kyrie didn't have.
See, now it's Kyrie's fault. Now, see, you won't say anything about George Hill missing the free throw. All you did is say LeBron. I'm asking you, when Kevin Durant needs to be held accountable for his play, you switch it to Kyrie.
Let's not revise history here. LeBron James was having the greatest shooting night of his NBA playoff career. What was he up to? 50-something?
He had 49 points.
49 points. He has a chance for 51 points because he gets a switch on the tiny little Steph. Mini.
Skip, you saw everybody. You saw Draymond right there. You saw KD right there.
He's got a 15-foot rise up and shoot at 6'9" jump shot over little bitty Steph Curry to win the game. It's do or die because if you miss it, you go home for Game 1, obviously.
Right.
But the point was, he passes the ball to George Hill.
Who had a layup, who Klay Thompson fouled him.
Well, he just tackled him,
right.
which he should have. Obviously.
Right, and he's 80%.
Now you put George Hill on the free throw line. He's never been in that spot before. And
He's never been to the free throw line?
Not with a Game 1 at Oracle on the line.
But that's the thing, though.
As a hopeless underdog.
Guess what? Magic Johnson had never been in that spot until he got into the NBA Finals was in that spot. Nobody was in that spot until they've been in that spot.
Okay, but he had a whole lot of help when Magic got there.
No, but I'm just saying, until someone is actually in a spot. Tom Brady had never been in the Super Bowl, tied in a ball game, until he was in that spot, and he came through and did it.
I had seen George Hill in playoff spots for my San Antonio Spurs, and I'm out. I didn't love it. And they traded him. Somehow they put him in a trade for Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah.
You're kidding. And I was happy because I didn't see enough. He's not that dude. And LeBron says, you be that dude. Well, he's not not capable.
Skip, all I'm saying is, do I believe Kevin Durant is still a top player? Absolutely. We're not questioning that. But there's some reason teams seem to be apprehensive about emptying their cupboards to get Kevin Durant and bring him on. I need you to tell me why. If he's what you said he is, he's still the best. Let me ask you a question. If they say, here come, you can have Giannis. We'll give you B.I. and some draft picks. You give us They doing that deal, right? They do that deal. If you could have Nikola Jokic, if you could have Luka Doncic, if you could have Joel Embiid, they doing that deal, right? So I need you to tell me right here, right now on live television, why aren't teams bowing down and putting Kevin Durant on their back and taking them back where they at?
I've explained this to you many times. God only knows what packages have been put on the table for the Brooklyn Nets that have gone unreported, because most of this stuff does go unreported. I believe that sun and moon has been offered for Kevin Durant, and that the Brooklyn Nets, starting with the owner, the GM, and the head coach, are saying, absolutely not. We're not going to let him demand his way out of town. Will we have him for 4 more years? We don't care what anybody's offering. It's not enough for Kevin Durant. We are standing by. We're going to stand our ground on this. We're going to hold his feet to the fire of a 4-year deal that hasn't even kicked in until opening night.
And David Griffin says, well, how long? How long before he comes for my job? Willie Green said, don't bring me that problem. How long before he sent for my job? Because I love how you said an unnamed source. Hey, when you hear this straight from me, the unnamed source also said what you said to Joe Tsai. He didn't say anything about that unnamed source. So David Griffin's like, well, how long before he sent for me? Willie Green said, how long before he comes for me? And he wanted Steve Nash. He wanted an unproven guy, a guy that had never coached at any level. He hadn't even coached his kids' team. And you put him in charge of a situation like that in order to win a title. Kevin Durant signed off on that. Now he doesn't want any part part of it. David Griffin said the man will come for my job. Willie Green said he'll come for my job. He'll do everything he possibly can to make sure he skates the blame, because he got guys like yourself that are apologists that will blame James Harden and will blame Kyrie Irving instead of putting on him, who co-signed everything that they did in Brooklyn, and you know it.
At least Kevin Durant led a team to the playoffs, because that Lagon guy, where is he? I don't know.
Skip, my guy with the eight.
With 33 and 49.
My guy,
Skip,
come on.
tournament.
Nobody's ever thinking that Kevin Durant's better than LeBron. The man went to 8 straight finals. The man has won to 9. How many finals has he gone? He's won to 9. He's gone to 10 finals.
Okay, right here, right now, Kevin Durant is better than LeBron James.
I don't believe that.
I'll take him any day or any night.
Who averaged more points? Who averaged more rebounds?
Whose team made the playoffs?
To do that, he should have stayed home. He should have stayed home.
Yeah.
LeBron James didn't even have it. By the time LeBron and Savannah was finished packing, he called Kevin Durant, you ready? You should already have your stuff ready, bro.
Are we still talking about the same LeBron who finished 93rd in three-point shooting while taking the 15th most attempts in the whole league?
Your guy's more...
That's disastrous.
Your guy is more efficient. He can shoot the three better. He can shoot the free throw better.
Yep.
He just needed to do it better against Boston. Now, you remember what happened the last time my guy played Boston? Do you want me to tell you what he did in the playoff series? Do you want me to play what he did last time they played? Don't play, Skip.
42 years ago?
It don't matter. It happened. That's what I love about history. That's why I studied history.
Remember
because it happened. It happened.
Boston, when LeBron was accused of quitting by his then owner in Cleveland, Dan Gilbert, accused him of quitting against the Boston Celtics.
I remember a guy was up 3-1. I remember a guy was up 3-1. They beat him down, and to keep them beating him down again, he went and joined them. How you ever do that? Who would ever do that? I want to know, people at home, if a gang beat you down, you not joining that gang.
They needed him.
He needed them.
To beat LeBron.
He needed them.
It was KD versus LeBron solo, and KD won back-to-back finals.
Well, why didn't KD do that when he was at OKC?
He was stuck with Russell Westbrook.
He's stuck.
Just the way LeBron is now stuck.
Don't do that, Skip Bayless. Don't do that. All I'm asking you.
You tried.
All I'm asking you is just to give him the same treatment that you give LeBron.
I am. I'm giving you the exact same treatment.
You don't put nothing on Kyrie. You don't put nothing on Kevin Love that they were hurt. All you do is say LeBron should have known better to pass the ball to George Hill.
LeBron had one chance to do a great thing. That was in 2015. He's up 2-1 with no Kevin Love and no Kyrie. And you have to close the deal. You have game 4 in your house. You have to close the deal against Andre Iguodala.
Your guy is up 3-1 against the very team that he joined, and he had game 6 in his building. He shot 12 of 31.
Yep.
He was up 2-0 against Milwaukee just 2 years ago.
Did you see Russell Westbrook last year?
No.
He got exposed.
No. I saw Kevin Durant. He got exposed without Golden State, without that hedge. Without that hedge around him.
So go ahead, New Orleans. Keep Brandon Ingram and let KD just rot up there in Brooklyn. Way to go.
Why are you rotting?
Well, that's what you're saying.
You said he signed the contract. You got it for 4 years. You said don't let him out. Now you want everybody to go get him.
No, I'm just saying if they would actually do that deal, stop it.
They not.
Yeah. Next.
Guys, I believe New Orleans will indeed keep B.I. Yes, Zion is the face worldwide, but in that locker room and in the city, B.I. is absolutely beloved. I don't think that team, I don't think Griff or Willie Green are going to mess with the chemistry in that locker room anytime soon.
Chemistry.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.